Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Elle. I'm a painter and a printmaker. This is the first video in a series that I am excited to share with you guys, where I'm going to be talking more about the sort of nitty-gritty details of what I do as a printmaker. This first video is all about paper. It's probably the most common question that I get asked is what kind of paper I use for specific prints. And so I thought it would be nice to just walk through my standard paper lineup. These are my standard papers. You can see they're all Eastern style. This over here is more of your Western style paper. I'm not a paper making artist, so I don't really know specific details about either of these processes. I do know that it has something to do with the pulp. These types of papers have longer fibers in them than your typical Western papers do, which impacts the strength and the flexibility. These Western papers tend to be a lot stiffer, and these Eastern type papers, I don't know if that's the correct term, but it's sort of the opposite of Western, I guess. But these tend to have a lot more flexibility and are easier to hand press on, which is my main method of printing. So that's why I started using these. This is a domestic etch. It's about an 80-pound paper. It's sort of what you would find in a standard sketchbook. I brought this in for a reference. This is a watercolor paper. It's 400 pound. It's basically cardstock at that point. This is thick enough that I would never print on this. When I was in school, I was printing on this, but we had presses that we used. Now that I'm working from home and hand pressing, it requires way too much pressure for what I can get with a wooden kitchen spoon. This is sort of where I'm at in my process right now. This is a kitikata paper. This is what I actually learned to hand press on. It's sort of your intro to Japanese paper. If you've done relief printing for a while, you've probably heard of this. I believe it's made out of a Gampi plant. I would have to check, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's very thin. I think that this is 33 GSM, which is grams per square meter, which it is talking about thickness, whereas a Western paper is measured in pounds. These guys are measured in grams per square meter. You can see it's almost like tissue paper, but that makes it really easy to press on. I'll use this paper if I'm doing like large areas of black that I want to be really, really dark. You can get kitikata in thicker sheets, so instead of 33, you can find it in like 35 or 37, which makes it a little more robust, which I would recommend. If I were to reorder this, I'm gonna get it in a thicker weight. This is a Nepalese Lakta paper. The fibers in it are a lot more pronounced. You can get this in a lot of really beautiful colors. You could also get it bleached. As far as hand pressing, you need a significant amount more pressure than if you're printing on a kitikata. It's got a rough side and a smooth side. If I'm hand pressing, I'll keep this side up so that my spoon doesn't get caught. Because these fibers are so long, you can probably see them in here. When I tear them, some of these fibers won't rip, so you'll end up with these frayed edges. Here's one. These fibers will sort of stick out. These are both mulberry papers. This is a Korean hanji, and this is a kozo. It's just a different process on how they made these. Both different thicknesses. This is 37 GSM. This is probably closer to 40. This hanji paper, I can find it in a whole bunch of different colors. This is like a bleached mulberry. I like this for really detailed stuff. Last but not least, this is a black tie banana paper. If you're hand pressing and you go over one of these guys, it's really hard to get the ink to transfer over them. I wouldn't print anything that's got a ton of detail on this just because of the natural fibers. It can get a little distracting. Like the Lakta paper, because it's got the big fibers in it, it can be a pain to tear. If you're cutting the paper, it's not so much of a big deal, but I like the natural edges. That's my standard lineup, guys. That's what I'm using. I've picked all of these because, like I said, I hand press everything. I use a wooden kitchen spoon, so everything needs to be thin enough that I can get enough pressure with just my hands. If you are using a press, you could use different papers. You can go back to those Western style if that's what you like. These all also work fine in a press. If you guys have any really specific questions, I can try to come up with answers. Like I said, I'm not a paper making artist, so I don't know a ton. I just know what I do to make it work. If you have any recommendations or you want me to talk about something particular in this video series, please let me know. I'd love to talk about it. And I'll see you next time.